In the story of a lot of people dwells the beautiful solution to a lot of problems that other people are facing. Hello, my name is Iyanoluwa Shomide Elizabeth, also known as Wanda, and this is the Voice of Comfort. This platform aims to bring out the voices of people that have been there or are there, that are experiencing these things, that know how it feels, what it feels like in it at the moment or as at the time that they were in, are willing to share their stories and let us know, okay, this is how I got out of it. This is what it felt like. You're not in it alone. It's time for us to hear the real stories. It's time for those voices to come out. That's what Voice of Comfort is all about.
Don't do that. Yeah.
All right. Hello, everybody. There's someone very amazing behind the scene. Like, I'm laughing, I'm smiling because of what he just did. His name is Kayode. Thank you so much, Kay, for being here with me today. I'm grateful. They did a mini pod before this pod. You might see a few clips, just a little thing here
A
and
little
there.
something.
Yeah. But they're talking about politics. I'm like, whew. Anyways, since I'm saying they, the other person that makes the day, who is our guest here for today, is Chris. His name is
Hi,
Chris. Hello,
Wanda.
Chris. For the longest time, when I say Chris, I want to say Chris, the art manager.
No, don't do
Wait.
that.
For the longest time, that was how I knew you.
Is
Like,
that how you saved my name on your contact?
sincerely. You remember that? I think it was the day I shared my screen. And then
Yeah.
you're like, please, what am I seeing?
Yeah, I saw like
Then-
Chris, the art manager. I was like, don't
yeah.
do that. Don't do that. Don't
He
be a Nigerian. You're a Nigerian. I'm sorry. Continue.
Please, I'm a Nigerian, I'm an African, I'll put the full stop there.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay, so Chris, like I said, is an arts manager. Okay, his surname is not the arts manager. His surname is Udoh.
Yeah, you got it. Udo.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay, so he's an art manager. Let me describe him the way I know him.
Yeah.
He will give you those complicated terms.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Thank you.
I'm a
Thank
simple
you.
man.
Wait, when you introduced yourself to K, you had used one name, one word. I was like,
Don't worry. Let's keep it. Let's keep that. Let's keep that out of the podcast.
okay, so
Yeah.
what I know about Chris is he's into art. And when you hear art, you may be thinking art, but Chris art is art. Because Chris art is like cultural art. Like cultural art. I don't think my cultural science teachers know art. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, when I first heard art manager, I was like, okay. You know, it's okay. And when she introduced her, she's like, oh, you're not manager. Like, okay, that sounds interesting. But then when I got to really know the art, I was like, oh.
Okay. Yeah, this is something. This is another
This
dimension.
is another dimension. Like,
Yeah.
his dimension. He invited me to a program. And I kept thinking, yeah, I'm going for an art thing, you know?
Let me help you out.
And
I'm a cultural diplomat. That was the word
that's the
I
English
used.
bar.
Yes, that's
Let
the
me
English.
describe it the way I know it. So I went there. And then they call the place a village, yeah. So I think it truly depicts the village thing. Like it really, really was like a village. It was so cool and so nice. I played Uyo, that
Eyo.
stone game. So yeah, I got there and it what's the name of that place again?
Truth Village.
Truth Village. Truth Village. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got to know the truth about Chris arts management. So it was like cultural. There was palm wine. There was Uyo games and other cultural games. And guess what? I had to beg them to speak English.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've met a lot of people that are like culture centric, like people that take pride in yabbing me because I don't understand Yoruba, and telling me that I will get sold one day,
Yeah.
and things like that. And but I've never seen someone that is so into the culture beyond just maybe the love for the language or having to say, okay, I am from this place in this place.
Yeah.
And yab me that I don't know the place in the place in the place that I'm coming from. It's almost like that's where their satisfaction, their peak point
They're
ends.
like,
Yeah,
let's
that,
stop here. Let's
that
stop
yeah,
here.
But to see someone that is like into it so much so that you have a foundation that is dedicated to your culture. Because I was thinking, when you say culture, I know you may be thinking Terra culture. That's what I thought too. But, but then it's like Akwa Ibom, and being able to bring up a society that exists outside of it, but like they're in it, right? I think it's so mind blowing. That day I felt out, but I felt amazed. I felt dazed. I know.
Wonder was like, Chris, when you invited me for this event, I thought about another event, but I don't think this is for me. But no, I'm here to support you, but I don't think this is for me. So yeah,
Yeah, but it's so. Please, how did you? How are you like this? I don't mean to
that
sound
question is a very
off.
big question.
Like, how did you? Is it family? Is it upbringing? I've even seen people that grow up like inside, but they are not exactly.
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. I just think like I've I've always been introduced into culture from a young age. So I grew up in a family of four. My siblings, my two elder sisters and a brother that I own. I say I own, but I don't own him.
Oh, your
Um,
elder brother.
no, it's like it's my thing. No, but I grew up in a family and I was always like the jester of the family, the young guy cracking jokes. So I'd always wanted to be around theater people, you know. I eventually got to do that
It's
in
cool.
my career. But my mom was a traditional dancer, even though she was
Mm,
a nurse and like a seamstress and different other things, a professor of sociology, but she was also very,
professor.
yeah,
Amazing. Please
yeah.
continue.
So
A
she,
professor and a dancer.
yeah.
Sorry to cut you. Please continue.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She was a professor. She is a like she's a doctor of sociology, and she's also a dancer. So I used to follow her for cultural events and for projects that way. And also when I was younger, I played an Aquarium Prince in a play. I think that was the beginning of my love for culture. I just really loved
You
how
played
the
an
rapper looked on me. And funny enough, the rapper I wore on Sunday,
Is the rapper.
I wore when I was 7 years old. So like it's a very interesting. I
Please, do you
can
have the
share with
7-year-old
you.
picture?
Yeah, I think I do have it. It's at home
Can you
though.
put it like side by side?
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that, but the image is at home. So sad. Like at home. When I mean home, I mean Aqua.
Home aquarium.
So I've been exposed to culture a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Even my uncle, who is late now, he was a Catholic priest, but like he also really loved culture. Anytime he comes back to Nigeria from Italy, he would always be tying wrapper and just dancing around. So I was always stemmed in this beautiful thing, and I guess I didn't know that it would be the foundation of whatever I was going to create in the future. But yeah, here we are with the foundation. Hello. Yeah, but beyond cultural advancement, like I'm an art manager and I'm a cultural diplomat, and being
He's a
that,
cultural diplomat.
should we end this podcast so we can run away from here? But that means seeing beautiful things and beautiful other cultures and finding merging points for them,
Okay.
because like I truly believe that for like Nigeria to grow and the creative ecosystem in Nigeria and the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the world to grow, we need to have that cross cultural, cross sectoral exchange, which is interesting. But I know you didn't ask me about that, but yes, that is how I got into culture, and that's how I'm in culture right now.
Sounds so good.
Yeah.
So good. Give me a minute. So, whenever my friend Bolu is around, he's always very particular about offing the fan, and I just realized that way the fan is on and sound will be entering.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
No, Allah. Let me try to fix this too.
okay. So yes, cultural.
Diplomacy. Diplomat. Yeah.
You have the floor.
Interesting. Cultural diplomacy is basically when I think about a cultural diplomat, I think about a pollinator in farming where you take something that is significant in a space to another space because there's opportunity for that to grow. So basically, as a cultural diplomat, you're a master of the in between, and because you're negotiating spaces and different cultures, like it has to be done with so much care and love, and which is very interesting. But the most interesting thing about cultural diplomacy is the fact that you get to move around and learn about other people's cultures and finding how those cultures are aligned with your own culture and how they are different, but also
Okay.
giving each other a chance to show your full authentic self and find similarities or find ways of connecting the dots and making sure that there's a cultural exchange that happens that pushes both species forward.
Mm,
So
I
that's
like
what
it.
cultural diplomacy is. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, it sounds interesting, but let's make it a little more interesting.
Okay.
Can you bring it to like make it practical, like cultural diplomacy example? Example.
So,
You know I'm laughing. I wanted to say example, and you can see an Akwa man and be like, "You, this guy, you're so good. There's this evil lady somewhere that I think
oh,
you
you
should marry."
mean is
That's
it
just me being
by
funny.
by marriage?
Not
You
exactly.
would have come directly
No,
now.
no, not
Instead of going to the corners, come directly.
well. You
Yeah.
can start from there, but that was just a joke. You could like,
No,
what? How exactly do you marry the cultures?
so for
Mm-hmm.
instance, let's take the game he played.
Okay, yeah, the
In the,
Uyo.
it's Ayo, like it's
Ayo.
a game that is
Ayo.
Ayo. Yes, I think I also stabbed it in the heart. Like it's a game that is significant
Mm-hmm.
in the Yoruba culture, but it's also
Yeah.
very significant in the Akwa culture.
Yeah.
In the Akwa culture, it's called Nsai song.
Thanks.
Nsai song because and it's unique in our space because you had to actually dig the ground and use stones to play it.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing with the Yoruba culture, but it's just really modernized now. So beyond that,
Mm-hmm.
there's some things around mythology, especially in the African ecosystem, that is about the same story, but different deities and different names. It's just
Okay.
to find those similarities in them. So coming to Lagos, bringing some parts of Akwa Ibom to Lagos with the
Mm-hmm.
event we had, which was
Mm-hmm.
the Roots and Rhythm event,
Mm-hmm.
gave us the ability to show not only show people like you the tangible culture and what it is like to be in Akwa Ibom. What was your Akwa Ibom name? We gave you an Akwa Ibom name that day. Do you remember? I think it was Enobong.
Yes. Something bung.
Yeah, it was definitely Enobong, which means like gifts of God, God's gift.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
What is wonder in Aquarium?
Utube.
Utube.
And Utube is actually one of my names.
Oh, some
Yeah.
your name say.
Yes, my
I'd rather be
namesake.
called Utube than Nabong. I think that bong bong thing is like very popular bonging.
Bobong means God, like the one.
Hey.
Yeah, so if you want to be detached from God, no
Mm.
worry. It's all.
It's Utube bong.
It's- yeah, yeah. It's that. So, but yeah, it's an opportunity to share culture, and in that way, you can find ways to collaborate. That's basically what cultural diplomacy is. When
Okay.
we bring it into the phase of marriage, I think inter-ethnic marriages are very beautiful. I know a lot of people that would say no, and they'll say no because like it's stressful learning another person's culture. But I think it's very exciting to learn how to say bon without passing out, or to learn what it means to be Yoruba. And imagine raising kids in that kind of environment. One, they come as very grounded individuals because they can understand both Yoruba or Akwa Ibom or both Igbo
As
and
long
Akwa
as they
Ibom.
are not like me.
Yeah, as long as they are not like Wanda, guys. As long as they are not like Wanda. So, but I think those interactions that happen between
Mm-hmm.
these individuals in that way help society in a better way. One, you coexist better. So you cannot coexist if you do not understand each other.
Yeah.
So cultural diplomacy and diplomacy in general helps you understand one another and helps you coexist in spaces
Mm-hmm.
where you would normally fight against each other.
Yeah. Sounds so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um.
I don't know why it feels like we started with a very intellectual talk. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
very intellectual. Like
we should get back to the cool stuff.
what is art
like not until very recently that did I know that you also do photography.
Yeah.
So what is the art like? You
Like
just calabash and masks
what the
and
art?
palm
What do you
wine
mean by the
jazz.
art now? Do you mean the art in Aquaibom, or
Yeah,
do you mean the
yeah.
art?
Like you, art to you.
Yeah.
Because I know your art is cultural.
So so my art is not only cultural. I'm a photographer, but like I basically I think art is a medium in which you understand the world, and an artist is basically one that takes what he's going through and puts it into the world and helps other people find meaning in what they're going through that they do not have language for. So art is a way of finding language for some things that we do not have language for. And that is why art is universal. So even if I created work in Uyo and I bring it down
Yeah.
and you see it, you have a particular connection to it because like it's something you're going through, but you don't know what to say. You don't know how
How to
you're saying
express
it. You
it.
don't know how to express it. But
Yeah.
this is someone collaborating with God, because I think like all art is like a collaboration with God. But this is someone going through something in life and learning from it and bringing it out to the
Out.
public
Yeah.
and trying to make sense of this world. So art is the only way that we make sense of this world, really.
Okay, so from listening to you, you just made it sound like as if art is very intentional. Like every step of it is organized.
I don't think art is intentional. Art is, I always call an artist a prophet because I don't know if being a prophet is organized. I just think that God tells you what to do and leads you. And it's kind of the same process with art. Art is, or your art, the work, like art is just a different pulpit from the one in church or the one in politics or the one in business. It's just a space in which God meets you halfway to talk about things that are very pertinent for the space that you're meant to be. So if you do not obey in the whole process, it's always going to be harder. And if you try to force the process, the work you're going to create is also going to be watered down. So that's how I see art. I know we're talking and the conversation is going like 10,000 places, but yeah, that's what I think about art in terms of that. I don't know if art can be intentional. I think if you are not in tune with yourself, in tune with God, and in tune with what you're being called to do, you cannot really create impactful work, impactful art. But an artist needs to find himself first
Yeah.
before finding like other things, find
Yeah.
himself, understand who he is in himself, and understand why he was created to create, and then follow the one who created him to create to understand what the one who created him to create um, wants from him to create in the world for the world. I know that's a very long answer to a very short question.
And then the answer was
Yeah,
rhyming
yeah,
and
yeah. Well, it felt like a rap. It felt like I
yeah,
was rapping.
like
But yeah, that's it.
yeah. Um, Hearing all of this makes me remember people that or think of people.
This mic no agree me, but I think this is fine. When it stops, it stops. Let's keep it this way. Okay.
Alright. So makes me think of people that struggle with expressing themselves art-wise. I mean, you see things like creative block. You see people experience things like anxiety, even in the space of creating their artworks. It almost seems like as if creativity comes by accident sometimes. Like, but listening to you makes it sound like as if is a divine interaction.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking against that.
Okay.
Like I really believe that. My pastor talks that there's something we do in Ecclesia Hills, which is my church by the way. We from time to time there's this business conference that comes on, and the idea of the business conference is just bringing people together that occupy different spaces. Like okay, you're an engineer, you're a doctor, you're into the food industry,
Yeah.
industry, you're into mental health,
Into
you're
chow.
into
Yeah.
you're into fashion design, whatever it may be, right? But
Yeah.
everyone is busy in their different sectors functioning in different ways. It's like saying one of the courses we even run here is God in the Modern World.
Okay.
It's like in that space where you occupy, how exactly would you have the Lord express himself through you? Like how do you really tap into your source and make sure that you are functioning as you should? Because without this, the world has its culture.
Yeah.
I know you're Mr. Culture, but there is a culture that is not exactly a culture like that can take you anywhere else but where you ought to be. So it's like saying without having a firm foundation, without having a clear definition of what you really stand for, what your essence is, what your objective of things is, it's very easy to sway off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see people that are creatives but are dependent on all sorts of vices. People that can't tap into their creativity without using one thing or indulging in one thing or the other. But then hearing you talk about God, 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 God makes it sound so like out of this world.
So I'll share with you something. There's this film I I watched last year. I think it was this year. Um, I can't remember the name of the film, but in the film it was about there was a great revival, Jesus revival in the U.S.
Okay.
some 40 years ago,
Okay.
and that revival came in the era of hippies. So hippies used to they're
Sounds
chasing.
familiar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the guy that acted The Chosen. He was the one that played quote unquote one of the greatest prophets then.
Okay.
Um, but in that film, when people chase things like using drugs to enhance their creativity or enhance themselves,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically people chasing people at when people chase anything that is you're addicted to, you're chasing it because you are trying to fill a void, and you're trying to fill a void that only God can fill.
Yeah.
So if you're creating art, if you're doing business, if you're doing other things, and there's nobody filling that void, and the only person that can fill that void
Properly.
properly is God, you'd end up thinking that your creativity, yourself, the ideas that you create is an effect of a drug, and that's not sustainable. And God,
Yeah.
in everything He has called us to do, is to be fruitful. And God would never. Um, what does it mean to be fruitful, man? Like, it's only things that are planted and that are constantly in contact with the nutrients of the roots that can be fruitful. And in this case, we need to be planted and be in constant contact with the roots, which is God, to be fruitful, or else anything that gives us semblance of fruitfulness is just
Yeah.
it's just a facade. That's a type of way. So yes, art. A lot of artists over time have been saying, "Oh my God, I need drugs. I need this. I need to put something in my body to be able to see and dream and imagine." But right from inception, right from the birth of the world, right from Genesis, God gave us dominion to go into the world and create. We're the only species in the whole world that can imagine something and bring out that imagination into something tangible. A dog cannot do that, a cat cannot do that, no matter how much we love them. So, in a certain type of way, we as human beings are modeling God because, like, it, if the person who created us has breath life into us and tells us go in and create and multiply, only means that you're like Him, and only when you rest in Him that you can truly, fully, and wholly contribute and create and imagine and dream and be. And like I just imagine, even before cars were made, like who bloody thought about like four tires moving you around the globe without you dying? But this is what it
And
means
for a
to be
plane.
human. This is what it means to be inspired divinely. And I think artists, whatever thing you might be called to do, be a leader, be a politician, we're all inspired, or we're meant to be inspired by the one who create and the
Created
ones that
and
has given us the ability to
to
create.
create.
Yeah.
Hmm. A creator to be a creator.
Yes, like basically, like literally, and that's why a lot of parables in the Bible are very interesting because when he gives you something and you take it and plant it, you're useless. And in that sense, it's you're not fruitful. But he calls you to take this thing that he has given to you,
Go
raw
out.
as it is, go into the world and to multiply it to the ends of the earth. And if you do not do that, then like that's why he gets really angry with people that are given talent and the talent is not used for to advance, to create, to build, to dream, to inspire. So yeah.
Let me make that a little simpler. So, what he's saying is that for all of you that have been given one skill or the other by God and you're doing nothing with it,
Yeah.
how do I finish the sentence? Did I say
He's coming for
he's coming for you?
you.
And, well, I understand that. Let's even delve into this a little bit here.
Yeah.
There are truly reasons why people hold back on experiencing themselves in this light. Like, um, they can identify that they have a gift. They can identify that they are particularly good at some things. But you see some people not going out. Like, why would you hide? Why would you bury your one talent? And when you've been given one talent, you're an art manager. So I guess that means that you've had to interact with other artists in one way or the other.
Yeah.
Do you experience those kind of things?
So yeah, I mean, you'd always constantly have people over time, like not knowing what light they carry. But I also think as much as God creates creators, he also creates people that can identify people's talents because some people are not as self-aware enough. Should we do 1 minute silence for the camera? No, no, it's okay. I put a mental pin on the conversation. No, I want to look into your soul while talking. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. it's, a, it's a conversation. To look into your soul. 17th May. Yeah, what's that? Yeah, it's so far. I want to look into your soul. I want to look into your soul. I prefer in conversations. I really love to look at the people that I'm having conversations with because I think that's the only way I follow through and like also understand based on the nuances that you portray. I'm looking at you. I'm not looking at the camera. She's behind the camera, guys. She should be beside me. She should be beside me. So if
Wow,
anything
you
can go
opened my
wrong, to go
bottle
wrong.
for me.
Yes, I did.
Oh,
Oh, so
thank
that
you.
you don't, we can't hear crack. Okay.
All right.
So, yeah, there are a lot of instances where, are you good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are a lot of instances where people might have talents and they do not know it. Um,
Wow, you're so good at holding your thoughts.
yeah, I'll just hold it, guys. So there are people that have talent but do not know it,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's our role as people that see other people
Mm-hmm.
to call out that light from them and to help them get to the place they need to be. And for the people that know they are talented but they feel helpless and hopeless because of how the world is, it's also our role as people that have gone further to kind of disciple them and help them know what the value of their light is and to encourage that and to dispel that. And that's kind of what a father sees when they see their children. That's what a lover sees when they see their lover. Like they see this unhewn, um, they see this stone. It's called the Michelangelo effect, where it's just a big chunk of stone, but you can see the
What
finished
you could,
product.
yeah.
Yeah. And
And you know
all
what
he
to
had to
hit.
do was to take the chisel and hit.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing that art managers do, where
Mm-hmm.
we see talent and we have to call that talent in and make sure that this talent is refined, but most especially make sure that they do what they've been called to the world to do. So yeah, facilitating their facilitating their call, I guess. I guess the most important person is one that can see potential in other people and call that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, while you're speaking, it makes it sound cheesy, right? but, but while you're speaking, I make me remember a friend sent a clip of a book that he was reading. I was asking him to read. Can't remember the name exactly, but it was a book on marriage.
Mm.
And the part he screenshotted and shared was talking about how um, the essence of marriage is to be able to see in the other person what the other person is beyond where they currently are, but even to what they will be, like what they've been created to be,
Yeah,
and making the decision to walk with them through the journey.
yeah,
So it's like, oh, I see you,
yeah,
I see you,
yeah,
and I see you.
yeah,
So it's like at every point when you get here, like, yeah, that's what we're talking about.
yeah,
Like, yes, that's what we're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like as if he is a public husband.
Who's a public husband?
You
I'm a public husband.
being that you're the husband to this is me being
Okay,
this
okay,
is me being
okay,
funny.
okay. I
This
get
is
the
a
joke. I
joke.
get
It's
the
a
joke.
joke.
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
So
please, so I'm not a public husband. I beg. Yeah,
but the idea is that I mean in this same light. Okay, what I told that person was that yeah, this is so true. That is the essence of living, but it even goes beyond marriage.
yeah,
It goes into every sense of connection. It goes into friendships in itself.
yes,
Like if I decide that I'm going to be your friend, and I'm not able to see you in your real essence, which
Mhm.
means at any point in time where you start to experience life in a flip form, that is something happens that takes you or ticks you off your God ordained persona,
yeah,
and you start acting like something is not okay inside of you. If my relation with you is based on the vibe I get from you, then I would step back.
mm.
And I think that that's what relationships, in the general sense of relationships, business, career, neighborhood, friendships, whatever it is,
Yeah,
right? That's what is lacking now. That makes it seem like as if interpersonal relationship is difficult. Like
mhm,
true, pure, real interpersonal relationship is difficult. There's that inability to see beyond the now. It's like everything is about the vibe. Oh, you seem to be making the money that I need, so that's the reason why I'm with you. You seem to
yeah,
be making the or be giving me the joy that I need. That is the reason why I'm with you. You seem to be able to meet a particular need. But what happens when those things are not in place?
yeah.
Are you able to then look beyond the present and call the person back to it? Like, hey, sorry, excuse me, sir. I'm looking into your soul now.
Like I'm looking to your
I'm
soul
looking into
now.
your soul now.
Yeah,
And I'm saying that what I'm seeing now is not who you are.
yeah,
And I might know, I might not know what exactly it is that is going on with you that makes you function the way you are right now.
mhm,
But I know that you have to step out of it. I know that there is something beyond this thing that I'm seeing, and we have to. Like I've dedicated myself. I'm your friend. I ain't got no choice
yeah.
because friendship is not.
I'm here to the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we have to find our way back to the real essence of who you really are,
yeah,
right? Like what exactly is that thing about you that is your own thing that you are not seeing? Let me open your eyes. Let me pinch you if I need to,
yeah,
but help you see what you really are. And so that was me saying that okay, this goes beyond marriage. It even
yeah.
exists in friendship. But now hearing you say that it exists in
In art,
arts
you're like,
management,
what's going on?
it's like oh
Why
my
is this thing
god.
haunting me? No, but I agree with you. I think fundamentally in this world, beyond being coming into the world to glorify God, we're also coming into the world to um make the light that is in the world more and
Mhm.
brighter.
Mhm.
So, and but before you can help other people shine brightly, you need to understand yourself. Like it's a thing of a vessel doesn't know what its use is if it's not used.
Yeah.
And then when it realizes what its use is, it can tell other people that, oh, more that is your use, you know.
Yeah.
So it all boils down to one, self awareness, but
I'm
also
aware. Sorry. I'm sorry.
sorry,
Seal has a song. Seal has a song named Self Aware. So if you say self awareness,
yeah,
I just sang a
I was
line.
like,
Please
I was like,
continue.
my brain glitched. I was like,
Sorry.
so so first, like you have to be
Self
self-aware,
aware, yeah.
but second is like you need to know who you are in God,
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't know who you are in God, you cannot call out who someone else is in God. And
You can't even
secondly,
stand in that place well enough to, because for you to be able to call someone out, you have to be deeply rooted where you are,
yeah,
even though you stumble into whatever it is that they are going through.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And second is that ever since like discernment became popular, nobody has made a choice. I think that's a quote from somewhere. I don't know who. I can't remember who said that. But the thing is, usually when we think about discernment, especially in this day and time, like discernment is always used in the negative. So what I mean by that is
Mm-hmm.
I'm sensing something bad here, so I need to X this out. But discernment fundamentally, the true definition of
Mm-hmm.
discernment is really to know what goodness is and to see what good is. And sometimes discernment means seeing a garden when you're seeing a rock. So you're seeing something that is so hard, and you're like, Jesus Christ, like this is so hard. But you see that if this rock is broken and if it's fertilized, if it's gardened, it becomes
A
something
little
that is
loamy.
so. Eh?
With a little loamy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With a little bit of me, it's something that is so fruitful. And I think we do not have that patience in this day and time and in this
Yeah.
generation.
Yeah.
In the work we do, in our personal relationships, man, like this year has been a very interesting year for me because God has been breaking me into, like, it's like, come here, man. You thought you knew how to spot people, you
Let me
thought you know
show
how to love.
you.
God has been teaching me love and has been breaking me in countless ways. And I can only speak to this now, understanding that sometimes He requires you to be in hard places to soften them. But because of how the gospel has been preached in recent times, which is about your prosperity, where life has now been super focused on self love, self
Yeah.
growth, self
Yeah.
protection,
Yeah.
we do not we miss out those opportunities to collaborate with God, because one is like he can create change on his own because he's God.
Mm-hmm.
However, like he has placed us beside each other to sharpen each other and to bring
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
the best possibilities
Mm-hmm.
from ourselves, basically. So if you're not patient enough, you cannot grow anything, even from farming too. I learned quite recently that love is also not efficient, but the world has, you know what it means to be efficient.
That's what I was searching for, like
You're searching your brain. You were like,
efficiency. And so what I try to do,
yeah,
and what I think that we might need to do, because I know that you're a very, very intellectual person. Like, I mean, the child of a professor, you know?
yeah.
But,
I beg.
but while you were speaking, I was like, my mind does this thing where it dilutes things to the simplest possible
Okay.
ways,
Yeah.
of ways of understanding.
Am I not speaking simply enough? Like I think I'm speaking simply enough.
Not exactly.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, no, well, I found myself in situations where I'm saying some things and they're like, that is mathematics. Like, okay, so I have some people that are like
Okay.
really, really sincere. Like, I have some friends that are, they just come and bring it to you just the way it is.
Yeah.
And it was even yesterday. So they were saying something. I was like, oh, like this. That's mass.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
can you
They're like
break
it's
it
too
down?
much.
Yeah, yeah. Like, can you
Dumb
simplify
it
it?
down. Dumb it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even told I was to, like, so while you were speaking, yeah, there were some things that my mind was like connecting. One of which was when you're talking about a rock and bringing out a garden, and I'm like,
How
some
can
minds cannot comprehend it. And then
Okay.
I was thinking like, okay, like, maybe we could bring it to simplify it by bringing it to interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
Take for instance, we say, okay, you are describe a personality. Let me leave it to you,
Mm.
and then describe the possible acts that exist in it.
Mm.
Example, we say
Can
there
you
is
expand on
somebody
that?
that is maybe difficult,
Yeah.
someone that doesn't see himself, is maybe stuck in drugs and all.
Yeah.
What are you seeing in this person?
Yeah. So now you're making me. I'm not thinking about the conversation
Is it
because I'm
not
trying.
complex? No, 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 don't.
So I wanted to explain it, but I wanted to explain it with something else.
Okay.
There's this thing that goes around in the Christian space, which is don't be unequally yoked with
Yay.
unbelievers.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get it. Like I get the concept of it, but I
Mhm.
think, and this might be very controversial, but like I think that we've been called to be yoked to people that are unequally yoked. Because how do the people that are unequally yoked become yoked? It's literally the same. And I know this. See, I see your eyes. Your eyes.
I need to.
I see your eyes. You're like you want to jump out. You want to jump out of the seat.
I'm not jumping.
Yeah, yeah. The way you're like, like
Why? No, I'm just searching. Like, okay,
yeah.
okay, unequally yoked. Like, what? On what context
So
was that scripture?
so let's take it on the simplest context.
Okay.
Let's not go spiritual about it. Let's say um you have an athlete.
Trust me, I'm not standing against you because even in the mental health field,
Mm-hmm.
for you to be able to see somebody and say that okay, this is how, like, it's possible to see someone struggling with, what could we call it, ADHD, like someone like you're literally completely off, you're unable to stand and to keep still and to think, like you're busy with so many things and it's just you're just off your hook, yeah. But look at that person and still see that look, you're the smartest
Mm-hmm.
person there is.
Mm-hmm.
If you are able to put your mind to a place of stillness
Yeah.
and put a sense of structure around yourself, you would be one of the best innovatives or creatives that this world would have ever tasted.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I understand the essence of looking at people beyond where they are, even beyond yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And being able to pull it out of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I heard from, I learned from Pimo. Sorry, that's my pastor mentor.
Okay.
There were times when I'm like, he sends me on the project, like I'm handling social media management and stuff in church. So you could tell me, oh, so you're working with this person for this, and then you could literally see how you have to like breastfeed certain people to get some things done. You have to like micromanage. You have to do this. You have to do that. Beyond even my personal projects, I see situations where we have like we set up on project, maybe a concert, an outreach, a webinar, a programs of all sorts,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see how we find ourselves sometimes having to deal with some people that are seemingly difficult. Yet beyond it, he's saying that okay, this is what you're able to say about this person, right?
Mm.
But you know that this is the person that can do this. This is the person that can do that. This is the person that can do this. Person that can do that. So beyond what you are seeing at the moment, find your way around it.
Yeah.
And
It's
find,
difficult, man. Like
yeah,
because you're a human, like when you see someone that is almost running mad and
yeah.
they ask you to be there, like you can run mad, you know.
You can exactly like
But we have been called to be patient with people. So there's this book I've been reading. I think it's one of the best books. And if you have some time, you should get to read it too. It's called Jesus the Holy Fool. Um, and Christians hearing that would probably roll. I wanted to say roll in their graves, but they're alive. So, but they'll probably roll. Because what this book was trying to talk about was not speaking about Christ as being a fool, but speaking about Christ being a fool in worldly standards. So
yeah.
Christ was one of the people that would go counterculture, and it doesn't even make any sense. So even in the highest point of wisdom that we own as human beings,
Mm-hmm.
we're still not as wise as the foolishness of Christ and God, who calls us to go counter whatever we have ever believed in. So who would basically sit with people that are going to kill him and like he's kissing them and giving them like food to eat, or who would um practically see something very difficult and go against that? That is someone who is wiser than any of us could ever be wiser than. So, and we have been called to imitate this even in our personal relationships and in our jobs. I personally think that all we have been called to do in this world is to love.
Mm-hmm.
That is the basic thing. And
Love.
and love is not efficient, but the world has become so efficient. Efficient basically means that like doing something in the least amount of time. So like how short of a time can you get a tax done? But you cannot get a tax done in love because then one, you need to be patient with people, unearth them, teach them, show them what God sees in them. Because fundamentally, love is I mean, beyond the earthly
Mm-hmm.
definition of love, love is basically showing someone the face of God, because God in himself is love. So love is basically bringing someone to God. Um, and it can bring someone to God if the person is very difficult, like, and you're not patient and you're not there, like, against the odds, you cannot bring them to God. So, in this modern time, in our different workspaces, even as an art manager, as a friend, as a brother, as a sibling, and hopefully a father, hopefully a husband first. I don't want to jump the gun. Yeah, hopefully as a husband first, and then a father.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to be patient enough to bring out the best out of people, and that takes less efficiency but more of self-giving, and basically like making sure that we allow and open up ourselves to God to use us in amazing ways. God is faithful, God is good, but he has taught me so much in this year. So when the year began, he had prepped me and he had put me in a position, like work position. So I was good, I was giddy. Then he was like, Chris, open up your heart, make room. And when he said, open up your heart and make room, I thought like I was like, what do you mean by make room? Like my heart is open, like I've been open to love, I've been open to different things. Little did I know that this guy was just going to disrupt my life, mid-year, with teaching me about some things. So all of us know how to love. And regardless of the level of love, you think that that is the end of the love. So, but
Yeah.
what he was showing me this year
To
was
break
that
bounds.
if there's an ocean
Mm-hmm.
and you think that that is the capacity of how much you need to love, when you get to the bottom of that ocean, there's a sea beneath that ocean, which is a newer way to love. And that requires a lot of things. One, it requires great obedience, but second, it requires like a constant beheading of your ego. Because I don't think ego will ever leave us. It's part of who we are,
Who
it's
we
part of
are.
our
Mm-hmm.
psyche. Sometimes it's even needed.
Mm-hmm.
There's good and bad ego.
Mm-hmm.
Probably philosophers will hunt me. Maybe not good and bad egos, but there's
Yeah,
ego
yeah, yeah.
that is
Yeah,
good for
even in psychology, there are like
like
two egos. Yeah.
exactly. So for self-preservation,
There's also
and
got super ego.
the other one is just pride, having fun with you.
Mm-hmm.
But for that level of love, that ego needs to constantly be beheaded. In fact, you behead it like every day, like blood everywhere.
Self.
Let me not be so grotesque, but what it means is for you to be able to call things out of difficult
People.
people,
Mm-hmm.
for you to call things out of the people that are rocks, but you see beauty in them.
Now
You
I
need to,
understand why you keep using rock.
yeah, you constantly need to kill that part of yourself that is stopping you from walking towards them. Because at the end of the day, like I was listening to a talk by Jackie Hill Perry the other day, and she was saying pride tells us two lies. One, it tells us through our ego that we're everything, and it tells us through shame that we're nothing. And if we are so dependent on this thing that is so fickle and that is not stable,
Mm-hmm.
that is always
Mm-hmm.
going up
Mm-hmm.
and down, then we get to be useless in the world. But if we put our faith in God, who validates us already, regardless of
Who
what,
sees you beyond you see yourself?
yeah, regardless of what society might say, or you might be stupid, like you love this babe or you love this guy, you're seeing the best in him and you're chasing them aggressively. But society, Are you crazy, man? Like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure you're not mad? You know, to them it doesn't make sense, but to
Yeah.
you, you already have your validation from someone that
Mhm.
is higher and the one that
Mhm.
created
Mhm.
everybody. Hence, you go ahead in. And what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is death. And what's the worst that can happen? In Christ dying, he defeated death. So death is not even the end. So when you think about uh, when you think about things as succinctly like that, the things that we're afraid of, the people that we're afraid of calling out the best versions
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
themselves, um, you notice that you will not have fear anymore for that. It's easier said than done, by the way, just so you know.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know, but you know how we make the mistake of choosing to focus our minds on the easy.
Yeah. This is good, man. Like, who wants to suffer in
It's
this
good
life?
and sweet and oh, but does it last?
Yeah, it's very fickle. Like,
Yeah. So, and there is always a world beyond the easy that sustains the easy.
hmm, what do you mean?
Okay.
I mean, I know what you mean, but I want you to expand it, like, so that you can break it down for
Thank
your
you for being
audience.
considerate. Like
Yeah,
you finally
yeah,
understand.
yeah.
But yeah, there is always something that is not seemingly easy that helps you maintain the easy. It's almost like I'm saying the same thing, but I would explain.
Mm,
So you see this beautiful marriage, you see this beautiful career, you see this beautiful bank account, you see this beautiful what else?
opportunity.
Even body shape.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like we see beautiful things here and there. You see innovations and stuff. But beyond all of these things, you see the beautiful car. You see there was a time when somebody had to sit back and be like, okay, so what does this really need to stay as good as it can stay? Or what does this thing that is seemingly not as good as I know that it can be?
Mm,
What does it need to become as good? It's almost like what you're saying,
mm-hmm,
right? So before to stay fit, which means you have to deny yourself some meals
mm-hmm.
or maybe have those meals and go and pay for it in the gym.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right?
Say, yeah, yeah.
Or to see even the most beautiful sense of marriages have their hard talks, have their goals setting, have their I think you understand it.
Yeah,
That is simple, right?
yeah.
So it's like, okay, for every time we see things that are attractive, that are compelling, even the things that are attractive but rooted in the wrong.
Mm-hmm,
Like, take for instance, I said money, right? Bank account. The
mm-hmm,
people that are getting their money from fraud
mm-hmm.
still have to put in the work. Like
Yeah.
the same way those that are getting their money legitimately are putting in the work in your field, there always has to be work done
Yeah.
to get the beauties that we call beautiful. So if we are unable to accommodate it, in fact, anticipate it,
Yeah.
like embrace it, I know that okay, like I really, really want this relationship to work. And because of that, I'm going to do this, even if I know it's seemingly uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
I want to be the best in my field, the best in my career.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm here right now and it seems like I'm okay, but I'm going to go back to school and take a little more study.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe pursue that PhD, like something that I know.
Right, 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 right,
Yeah.
right, right. Just
Um,
forget about me. Yeah,
or maybe go back and then sit in my place of thoughts and think about okay, this thing that has been innovated, what and what exactly does it need for it to beat? Like I want to be an outstanding in my business. I want to own like I can imagine what the likes of people that make cars like the Mercedes and do you understand like
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not a car person, but I know that there are some cars that you see that you know that yeah, you're a
So
car.
this car is
Yeah,
this
this
car is
car
a
is a
car.
car.
The other things are just motor.
Now you can imagine what was going on in the mind of the motor people
Yeah.
and the car people. There is always a stage of going through what is seemingly unpleasant
Mm-hmm.
that gives you the results that is pleasing to the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think nothing ever created in this world can exist without tension, and tension makes things clearer and makes things better. Let's take the gym for instance. Like, you go to the gym for the first day, man. Like, you're carrying this heavy pieces of metal, and you're like, what's going on? Like, your body's telling you, but your body's being stretched, and your muscles are being stretched and also relaxed in a certain type of way. That fine physique and that fine body that you want can never happen without you having that tension of your muscle being stretched and also reduced in a certain type of way. It's the same thing in friendships, in workspaces, in relationships. Like, if you do not do the reps, like, nothing happens. Nothing that has ever happened greatly. I know, like, this is
Nothing
very
that
cliche.
sustains.
Yes, some nothing that is sustainable, nothing that is sustainable ever comes from not putting in the work. What is sustainability at its core? Sustainability is creating systems that can regenerate themselves. But before they can regenerate themselves, you have to create the systems, and that is like hard work. So it's the same thing in relationships. If I need my relationship to work, and when I talk about the word love, like, people always think that love is always like ha 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 ha
Sweet,
ha ha ha
beautiful
ha ha ha
feelings
ha.
like the butterflies and the jingles and
But love is truth. And if I cannot tell you the truth in the good times when you're doing amazing stuff, or in the bad times when you're doing bad stuff, then I'm not helping you at all. And I'm also not helping myself. So if I don't help you, I'm not even helping myself, because I'll
yeah.
end up accumulating some things that needed to be addressed in the same space. It's the same thing in art management and creativity and whatever things that you do. If you are not investing and asking yourself the right questions and, like, investigating your own self, whatever you'll be doing, you'll be unprepared for it. So I'll give an example. So at first I thought I was called to artists. So I'm an art manager. So I thought I was called to artists one on one. I was like, acousting. I can do this. I love talking. Like, I love to gist with people, but I love to call them out and make sure that they're the best versions of themselves. Then I realized that I was called to a lot of people, like a lot of artists, and I did that too. Then I now realized that I was doing bullish work, and that now I've been called to leaders. So the best way to kind of bring in the harvest is to multiply the laborers, and there are very few laborers. And for me to multiply these laborers, that means myself, I need to be a good leader, and I also need to be a grounded person. I can't multiply what is not
It's not in you
is not
already.
in me,
Yeah.
basically. So I know Jesus had a time of preparation before his public ministry. I also think, like, I went through a mini version of that. I'm not saying
You're
I'm
not as old as him.
hopefully not. Um, so, like, I went through a mini version of that, and I'm still going to go through it because I'm human, and, like, I think the process helps you become who you're meant to be. So with every level comes a new form of refinement. But I had to go through that period, and that period was very excruciatingly painful for me. As a photographer, I stopped documenting, doing documentary work. I decided to start shooting self portraits. So just before I got into my industry, as and I'm carving the niche of being a thought leader around conscious leadership, in the art and culture space, I had to do a series called I had to do a series which was basically investigating the wickedness and audacity of my heart. Um,
Your own heart.
of my own heart. Like, I think there were like I think there were four images in that series. One was, I know you have a question. Just hold your thoughts.
I wanted you to just take a withdraw. I mean, no, not withdraw. Sorry,
Yeah,
you rewind
yeah.
and say the name of the series again.
So it was the name of the series is the investigation on the wickedness and audacity of my heart. So basically, there were some things I still needed to learn, and there were some things that if I had gone into the industry without learning those things, I'd have just basically been like the people that I'm coming to try to redeem.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed that I had envy in my heart.
That's number one. You said four.
Well, you're really counting, like you don't agree. I had envy in my heart. I had comparison, and like I I had shame and I had righteousness. Righteousness, self-righteousness, which is not far away from rage. And how these images were depicted. One of them, which was around comparison, is it was I think the name of the work was "O King, why thouest be under the table?" And the illustration was that I'm a king with a feast on my table, but I have a dog under the table, and the dog is eating bones. And instead of me eating the feast that's on my table, I'm going underneath to struggle for a bone with a dog. And I'm not saying that other leaders in the art space or the people that I was trying to change like are dogs, but or the people I was comparing myself to are dogs, but we often do not
What we have.
realize the blessings that we have, and we look elsewhere out of our lane to
Yeah.
because it looks good or
Yeah.
because the person is winning. Like
It's the
those,
natural.
everybody has everybody has a lane,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everybody's called differently,
Mhm.
and they can never be two people
Mhm.
called the same way
Mhm. Mhm.
in the same industry. So I had to go through this whole series investigating. It was really like it was like 6 months of doing nothing,
But soul
battling in the
searching.
soul searching, battling with God in the wilderness, learning a lot, and I'm still learning a lot now. Like it sucks, um, because it's painful and it's excruciating. Um, but that process needed to happen,
Yeah.
and I think everything that comes out beautifully needs process. Even when you plant the seed must die and now rise and break through the sand. And that's not the only thing that it needs to do. You need to water it consistently till it becomes a tree. And when it becomes a tree, it makes fruits. And those fruits become seeds that become trees that make fruits. But if the seed doesn't understand its purpose, and if the seed doesn't go through that process,
Time.
nothing fruitful comes from it. So it comes back into the conversation of art management, of relationships, of friendships, of leadership, of togetherness.
Mhm.
If that process, one is everybody has to be self-aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if the other person is not self-aware, you need to help people become more self-aware.
Mhm.
That's what I've been placed to do. And it's from that self-awareness that we'll be able to know what it takes to be in process and accepting that process in such a good way that it encourages and pushes forth your fruitfulness. I feel like I feel like I've opened church. I feel like K is just chilling in the back. K is just chilling in the back and meditating. Um, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go a little deeper.
Ah, hey. Okay, now let's do this.
So, you said that you talked about how you found four things in yourself, and I believe to find is to solve, like, or to work on, at least to some extent, to
Yeah,
bring to a sense of control.
yeah.
What was that season like?
Can you reframe the question?
Generally, I might have maybe framed the question as asking, okay, what are those difficult things that you experienced
Mm,
in your field of work as an art manager?
yeah.
But now that you've talked about first coming to a place of self-discovery and realizing that there are four major things,
Yeah, this is
what
just
did you
for me,
call
oh,
them?
not for
Yeah, yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
Oh.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, we're talking about you,
yeah,
Mr. Chris
yeah,
Udoh. So, what did you call these four things? There's a way you describe them.
Um, it's just an investigation on the wickedness and audacity of my
So
heart.
you have like 4 audacious wickedness.
Yeah, like I'm a very wicked man. Like that's why I don't sleep at night. Like no rest for the wicked. Um, but I just think
How did you handle your 4 wickedness?
first is you do not know if you have a dirty shirt unless you're being called to look at the dirty shirt.
Okay.
So if I wasn't, if I was in a process of becoming
Self-evaluation.
aware of some of the things that were affecting my heart,
Mm-hmm.
and it was through arts and through self portraits,
Mm-hmm.
through photography that I was able to find out, okay, this is it, like, okay, Chris, like you're envious. Your heart when you see other people winning, like your heart is doing you dup, 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 because like you probably think you should be there
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or be that.
Mm-hmm.
So the series was first me acknowledging that these are things that are part of myself. And then the second phase for it was to deal with whatever it is. As I said, is based on pride,
Mm-hmm.
because it tells you you're everything and also tells you you're nothing. And comparison, all of that is telling you, oh, you should have gotten this, or you should have not gotten this,
Mm-hmm.
or how dare you not get this?
Mm-hmm.
That means you are nothing and the other person is something.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something I've just been battling individually as a person, and I kind of have triggers for it when when those things come up. Like my body tells me there's a particular type of feeling I have, like a sensation I have,
So you
especially
can
my,
just once you just start
yeah,
feeling
yeah,
that we
like
just
I'm
know,
like, oh.
oh, this thing is here.
So, and it's always very difficult because like our body wants us to listen to our ego, but I constantly chastise it.
Mm-hmm.
I also have friends that I speak to about these kind of things because one is I do not want to be someone that speaks about something bad in an industry and I end up being
Just
that
like it.
demon. So when you look at when you go into the abyss of a demon, you end up becoming the demon.
Mm.
But you can stop becoming that demon by one being aware of the things that lead you there.
Mm-hmm.
But second is having like accountability people that you
Yeah.
can have conversations with, like,
Yeah.
and they'll tell you, okay, Chris, you're being stupid. I have this particular friend, like this thing about love I told you about,
Mm-hmm.
like God is teaching me this year. There's some people that I had issues with in the past, and some of these issues are very valid. Like they are super valid. Like if you go to God and ask him,
Right.
he'll tell you that yes, you should be
Yeah.
angry with these people. But then my friend reminds me that what would Christ do now? Like you need to talk to these
Mm-hmm.
people because it's through it's through you talking to these people and through you interacting with them that they find God in a certain type of way. So this is why accountability people are very important because they
Mm-hmm.
help you remind you of what God requires you from a particular time.
Yeah.
So that's how I basically battle stuff. I try as much as possible to meditate and think about the things that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And also I pay attention to the triggers, and when I get triggered, I try to sort it out. I know usually when those things arise, the hardest things are the things I have to do. So I lean in the discomfort and I go towards that hard thing that I have to do.
Sorry, permit me to repeat your word. Let's let it marinate.
Okay.
I lean in the discomfort.
Yeah.
Like I lean
Yes.
in the discomfort. I'm repeating it so it gets marinated. Like,
Yeah.
cause it's something that people hardly embrace.
It's an extreme sport. Don't do it, guys. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Please
I'm
do
joking.
it.
Please do it. It's
Please
really
do
good.
it. It's like therapy in itself.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's uncomfortable talking about your trauma and talking about the things that hurt you or how you feel can be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There are people that are even very uncomfortable with the idea of appreciating themselves. Like, this is what I've done. But you won't get out of these things if you're unable to stay there.
Yeah.
There's a particular theory that backs this up, and the name is far from my head right now.
Okay, I thought you were about to say it's a wonder theory, like a something like that.
But what he talks about is how to get away from, to get rid of the effect something has in you, on
Mm.
you. You have to delve deeper into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't want to get angry because of this thing anymore. So I face it.
Yeah.
And I face it. And I curb my reactions to it. And I face it. And I
Yeah.
curb my reactions to it until I get to the point where it doesn't affect me as much as to get me angry anymore.
Yeah.
Compared to I deny it, I ignore it, I walk away from it, I act like it doesn't exist. And all of those things that just keeps it waiting for you
Yeah.
in future.
No, so something I'm learning quite recently, and I've learned this through pain, man, is that your greatest healing is in your greatest pain. Yeah, like it's
Whenever you see this kind of things, can you pause?
okay. 60,
Okay.
59, 58. Is there 1 minute silence? um,
Your greatest pain is in your greatest
your
pain.
greatest healing is in your greatest pain.
Mm-hmm.
Even when surgery is happening,
Mm.
you know,
Mm.
it's not like they pray the surgery away or pray the pain away. They have to cut your body,
Mm-hmm.
and that in itself is painful.
Yeah.
So, but if you do not cut through the pain and get
Yeah.
to where the main
Yeah.
pain point
Mhm.
is and stitch it at the roots,
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to be dancing around it,
Yeah.
you know. And I still think it's the same thing with personal trauma, with egos. If you do not confront it, it will always resurface. Is that beast that after you cut the head, like it comes out again? But how do you permanently kill it? By going into it and going against the tide. It's very difficult. Like it is very difficult. And it's very difficult because we have been designed for self-preservation, and our body has been designed to tell us that, man, you know. I didn't even know we are going to talk about this today. While preparing for this podcast,
You're prepared.
I wasn't preparing for it. When I mean like prepare for the podcast, I was while preparing to come to this podcast.
Okay.
That was it. I saw an old bag, a bag that had like some of the books I had from university, and I opened it. I was curious. I was like, I saw an old
Let me
diary.
different.
What is it? What
Please
is it?
continue.
No,
You're
what
too
is
serious for me to be unserious.
so I opened one of my diaries, and I was like, was I writing this at this age? I was like, it was too wise for a very young boy. I was like, what's going?
Like what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I just said, let me take a deep dive into the wisdom of the ages.
I was like, what is this? What is
What's
this?
going on in your
Yeah,
head?
like, what was going on in my head? No, this one was actually what was going on in my head. It was a writing. I don't even know how I wrote that and why I wrote that.
And your writings are beautiful, by the way.
Thank you so much. But I don't know, man. How old was I? This was year one. Like, it was such a long time ago. But it was saying that, it literally said that we have been designed, our bodies have been designed to resist anything that is against self preservation because we have been designed to, there's a part of our brain that has been designed to encourage fear.
Okay.
But I wish I came with that diary because it was cooler what that young Chris wrote. But he was trying to say that in as much as we have been designed to lean into fear, we have been designed to lean into courage. And we have been called to be courageous. And sometimes courage is not only something external, it's also something internal too. So if there's something within us that is leaning towards fear, just as much as we are leaning towards darkness, there's opportunities for light, and it is what is courage at the end of the day? Courage is at the end of the day is getting into the fear with fear, attacking the fear.
Fearfully.
Yeah, fearfully attacking the fear, but attacking it anyway because like if you
Yeah.
don't, the fear takes control and takes full precedence over your life. I don't know what Chris was eating then that made him write stuff. Then also found interesting. It was oh my god, it was so interesting. I found I'm a lover boy. I was a lover boy. I
No,
believe
you are. Please own it.
I'm a lover boy. So I found something I wrote to one of my exes. Like we broke up. Like we broke up for right reasons, you know. We just had to go our way. But then again, I was like, I see, like, I know that it's meant to be hard for you to, like, I was in the breakup, I was the one that broke up, but like, I had empathy. Like, after that, I was like, I, I know why this happened to you. I see why this happened to you. Like, I see why this was this. I understand it. I see you and I believe in you and I have faith in you and I'm calling out the best part of you from like with that writing. I saw it, I was like, what? So um I know I've been talking about different things, which I actually love because this is how like long form conversations happen. But I guess like to tie some things into a knob is that even forgiving the people that hurt us is going to be so hard, or even being in spaces where people do not know their own worth and you're trying to call them out and the rest of the world is
Like questioning your
questioning
sanity,
your
like
sanity for
yeah.
doing it. We are all driven by fear, but we're also driven by courage. So if you lean into the courageous bit of yourself, you'd see that at the end of the day, everything that comes at the very end is good. Because let's say, let's say you try to call out good from a someone that doesn't know they have talent and you succeed. You succeed, you've basically won somebody and unlocked their light and told them what to do and get into the world and multiply like and the world becomes fruitful. And if you fail, even if you fail, which I don't think you actually fail because you have done the work, but even if you fail, you learn how to call people out in a better way. So it's the same thing in love too. You can never overlove somebody because at the end of the day, the love you put in teaches you how to love more people the same way. So it's an expansive thing. So it's not a retractive thing. Should we pause?
Say it again. Sorry.
So even with love, you can never overlove somebody because at the end of the day, if you if you if what you're putting and if what you've invested and how you love the person, if that works out, fantastic. It works out, you guys are together and it's good. But if it doesn't work out, it teaches you how to love more. So your capacity has expanded as a lover. Hence, your capacity has expanded as a better human being in general. So, at the end of the day, everything we do in quote unquote worldly foolishness, we do because it serves us. And I've always thought that the selfless people are the most selfish people in the world. If you think about it.
Yes. Yeah.
If you think about it.
Because it's almost like it's rooted in your rest.
How do you mean?
For the selfless, if
Yeah.
you are not selfless, you are not at peace.
No, it's not even that. So not even that. Let's talk about tangible return of
Okay,
investment.
bring it.
Let's talk about investment.
Oh, yeah, no.
So if I come to this room
Mm-hmm.
and I give you rice, I give K beans, I give different people stuff, like without them without them knowing anything. Like I just come and give you stuff. K is that K is advising me to reduce my mic. Okay.
So we can see your face.
Okay. I see my face. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is I give, and so I'm not saying you should go and give somebody things because you want something in return,
Mm-hmm.
but I give you freely,
Mm-hmm.
and let's say tomorrow I become broke as hell, broke
Brocus.
as hell. It's not like I'm requiring stuff from you,
Mm.
but because I'd given to you,
Yeah.
you'd see an opportunity to also give back to me.
Mm.
So in the act of being selfless,
I'm being selfish.
you're being selfish, but
That's
it's
what you
good
said.
selfish.
Mm.
Do you get what I mean? I've always thought that people that are selfless are very selfish people. But it's not a bad thing. It's not like I'm saying, okay, but you can, yeah.
For the future.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
not a strategy. You know, there's some people. So
They are not doing
I
it
know
consciously.
genuinely, selfless people. Yeah. So, but what I'm trying to talk about now, and I'm not talking anybody should be selfless in strategy. I'm just saying that back to the thread of conversation that we are saying, when you give and give, you'd always receive. And receiving doesn't necessarily mean that you receive what you have given.
Yeah. Or from
It,
where you've
yeah,
given.
or from where you're given. It just expands you. Because giving, what does giving expand? Giving expands you in a certain type of way. Expands you as a person, but it also expands your mind and expands the capacity. Yeah. No, but it's not like it's not like you're going in to be selfless for yourself. Yeah. Okay, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. I get what you mean. But
He
I will
doesn't
not.
have
I
a
will not.
mic. Please explain what he
Sorry.
means. He doesn't have a mic. Explain what he means. No, please, please. It's okay.
No, no,
No,
it's
it's
good.
really
It's good.
good. It's really good. It's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Let me give him the mic.
yeah, yeah. That would be good. That would be good.
So I understand what you're saying. Initially, I said that that selflessness was a strategy, and I don't think it's a strategy, like you said. But it's just that if someone is a selfless person and is always giving,
Yeah.
it helps them, like you say, it helps them
Expand.
to just expand their mind, their
Yeah.
capacity to
Yeah.
they keep increasing in that capacity to give more. Like
Yeah.
if you're able to give 500 naira last year, this year you have pushed yourself, you can give 1,000 more, so you're a better person, so you can,
Yeah.
so in the long run they become a better person, and that's the selfish part. And it's not a
Exactly.
wrong
Yeah. Exactly.
word, it's not a bad word to be
And that.
selfish. Self-development, you are growing, you are expanding yourself, you are stretching yourself.
And,
So that's the
and
selfish
what
part.
that capacity does is that it doesn't only serve you; it serves the world,
Like
and
it's a
it's
cycle.
regenerative.
Yes,
Like
like it's
it's
a
a
cycle.
regeneration of
Thank you.
you know
Yeah.
of things. So yeah, I just thought about it, wonder, and I was like, if you give and overgive, and the world is always telling you, "Oh, you too, they give," um, you're not at loss because one, your capacity has expanded, and one even places you at a better position to love better and still expand your heart to the other things that God is going to bless you with, you know. So let's say let's be tangible now. Let's say you enter the relationship,
Dum,
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 dum, dum, dum, dum, dum,
and you
dum.
gave your love and you gave it all,
Aya.
and it still didn't work. It prepares you for the one that it's going to work with,
Oh, nice.
because it's
Explain it further.
no, it's just an abundance thing. Like if I if both of us were going out together,
Mhm.
Wonder, and like I learned self-sacrifice,
Mhm.
I learned how to be there for you,
Mhm.
and maybe you didn't see that, and it just didn't work because of like life happens, things don't work.
Mhm.
The next person I'm going to love,
Mhm.
because I've been able to expand my capacity, the next person that I'm going to love is going to benefit from that. you know, is going to benefit from that. And
How exactly? So wait, this is you loved,
mhm,
but I couldn't. I didn't have the capacity to contain it.
yeah,
Sorry, please. Hi, Kay. Can you switch the camera? So
yeah,
wait. No, it's fine. So you loved,
yeah,
and I didn't have the capacity to contain it,
hmm,
right? Um, so I wasn't receiving your love the way I should properly. The scenario you're
so not everybody has capacity to receive
mhm,
the love that we give, and
mhm,
it's totally okay.
mhm,
So, but I'm saying while entering the love
into the
process,
new
no,
relationship.
so while entering the relationship between the two of us, I didn't know you didn't have the capacity.
Okay.
You have to be in the relationship to understand capacity.
For that relationship itself.
Yes. So, and I'm giving and I'm pursuing you, and you're probably rejecting some of the things I'm pursuing you
Sure,
with, like,
yeah.
but I keep on pursuing you,
Mhm.
learning how to be selfless,
Mhm.
learning how to self give,
Mhm.
how to see gardens in rocks,
Mhm.
you know. But then again, at the end of the day, it doesn't work.
Mhm.
It's totally okay. But the next relationship I am going to be in, because
Okay.
I've been able to self give, I've learned how to be in difficult spaces. I've learned
Mhm.
how to love people that, quote unquote, don't necessarily love me back.
Mhm.
I am in a better position to love the person that I end up
With
with, because I've gone to the ends, to the edge, to the barrier,
of
and I
love.
and I can go freely for you now because you appreciate and you know that. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, love. I get you.
Okay. Are you trying to
And as I'm
simplify it?
listening to you, I'm thinking, oh my god, this guy's mind is so pure.
I'm a bad guy. Don't mind her.
Because on an average, the kind of reactions that I see
Mm,
that people get from situations like this is that instead of learning how to properly love the next person, they then confine their capacity to love.
mm.
That is
Can you expand that
that
a
is
bit?
I gave myself, I gave my all, I tried all that I could
Yeah.
to love this person the very best way.
Mm,
But then at every time where I tried, I kept hitting a wall, I kept hitting a wall, I kept hitting a wall. I got to the point of exhaustion.
yeah.
So the next person that comes into my life comes and meets me in an exhausted state.
Yeah.
So I'm unable to love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even able to meet up with the initial state of love that I gave to the previous relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
I get what you mean. I just think those people are people that haven't taken the time to heal. Like I think
Yeah.
she's about to manifest. She's like, yeah. No, but like it's true though. Like I think just because I'm saying what I'm saying doesn't mean that after you've given so much, like
You
you
don't
should
feel
just
pain and you don't
like,
feel
you don't
hurt and
feel pain and you don't feel hurt and you
Mhm.
just jump into the next relationship. Hoo ha! Like let's go. I think one thing that we are always afraid of as a generation, or some of us are afraid of as a generation, I don't like to generalize, is we we have a very weird relationship with grief.
Grief,
Yes.
innit?
Yeah. So we do not grieve things properly. And hence, if you do not, whatever is not grieved properly would just be taken into the next thing.
Yeah.
So it is okay to grieve a business relationship.
Mhm.
It's okay to grieve a relationship
Mhm.
that did not work.
Mhm.
So you put so much effort into it. You, I'm sure it was beautiful at some point, and you
Yeah.
grieve it,
Right.
and then you heal and learn from it. But that shouldn't cap your capacity.
Yeah.
That should that should even give you more opportunities to be expanded. And I think when we understand death and understand grief, we heal better. Because the reason most of the reasons why we do not heal is because we are still holding on to things. But the act of grieving is to look at those things that were in our hands that are wither or that have withered out now, and be thankful for what they brought to our lives, and also be thankful for the lessons that they've given to us. And then we let it go. So it is in letting go that we can receive new gifts. It is in letting go that we can fully heal, and it's in letting go that our capacity um expands, and it's in letting go that we can show up even if we have lost so much in past relationships, that we can show up as whole versions of ourselves. That's clear. That's clear.
There are 10 people in this podcast. What camera is supposed to be?
Case rolling. Case rolling on the floor.
He's running on the floor. And I literally said, come and lay hands on me. Communicating this the way he's saying it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kim.
I don't think I want to edit.
I don't think we should
I want to
edit
cut
this. I think we
off.
should
Like,
keep it
I
like this.
think it's so
I
real
think
and
it's so
so
raw.
pure. It's so good.
Because you also don't want to have a pretentious podcast.
Yeah.
You want things that happen to happen. So, yeah. So,
Please, sorry. For the sake of marinating,
yeah,
can you say that again?
man. Like I probably, the spirit was probably in me. But what I'm trying to say is that you cannot fully heal if you do not understand death and grief. And grief basically is looking at what was and looking at it
Mhm.
and appreciating all that came with it, but also appreciating all the lessons that came with it, that helps you go into the new thing with even more capacity. Because, are we good? It's gone. Yeah, with even more capacity, really and
Mhm.
truly. So
Can you try changing the battery?
it's
Thank you.
okay. So, like, it's in understanding that grief and healing from that experience that we can now move forward with the fuller capacity, because now we don't only understand the love part of it, which was
Mhm.
a good part of it, we also
Mhm.
understand the lows of it, which also makes you a more informed, more
Yeah.
grounded human
Yeah.
being when you
Yeah.
come into something new,
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
relationships, friendships,
Business.
businesses, work, and
Mhm.
all of that.
So good.
T for thanks.
It seems
Yeah.
like you're ready to say the T for 10 before I even said it's so good.
No, no, no. I was just I knew what was coming, so I had to say T for thanks.
Oh, wow. That's a huge one. Huge one. To have a quick run up from, okay, first we started with you talking about how what creative management really was all about.
Mhm.
Then you shared your fatherhood experience.
I don't die.
I see you as a father, really.
S- Yeah, I know.
Being
That's
able to come to that state
yeah,
and being able to stand in that state where you have seen people for who they really are and being able to say that I'm going to be with you to nurture this to
yeah,
fruition.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's great.
Thank
Then
you.
we talked about dying to self.
Yeah, man. Dying to self is an extreme sport, man.
Yeah.
Ever since I was young, like when I read, as soon as I could realize what Solomon did,
Mhm.
ever since I was young, I was asking God for wisdom. You know, I was like, I still pray till now, and I'm like, I call him my G, my main G. I'm like, main G, please give me wisdom and give me wisdom to know thy will, and give me the grace to use the wisdom that you've given to me to help the ones around me and to lead them to you. Like, I was literally reading my diary from university today, and I'm like, every small thing I'll be like, God help me, God help me, God help me. I wasn't as religious as I am now, but even in that space, like, I was learning I think when you now understand the call you have in your life, you can now move in a different way. I realized after my encounter, I had an, all of us loves God. We all love God, but when you have an encounter with Him, that changes our love from just love to a
Love.
relationship. Like
Mhm.
it's like, okay, you see me, I see you. I mean, I'm still learning how to see you
See you,
because
but
I'll be learning how to see you till the end of the earth. Then He now shows you what you've been called to do, and some of the things I've been called to do primarily is to have kids that are not my kids.
yeah.
And it's funny that it's 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 funny and it's a great honor that like I also even get to have kids that are older than me. Like they're older than me, but like they feel like my kids.
I feel
you
you.
know,
I feel you.
and 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 it's brilliant. I don't want to say it's brilliant, but like it's very humbling, but also very energizing. But also I'm learning a lot, because it's actually if I can, if God can expand my capacity to kids that are not necessarily mine,
Mhm.
um, imagine the capacity He will open up my heart to kids that are actually mine. So it's a great honor to be a father to people. It's a huge responsibility, but it's good responsibility. And I'm just really grateful for that experience with him, but like grateful for my parents and my folks and my family, because there's a way the race does that. I mean, I was raised with a lot of flogging because I was very stubborn. But then again, um, I think it was last year. I went back to thank my parents. I told them, "Thank you so much. Thank you. Like, thank you for raising me right." Because man, just imagine if I was
Was
rather
the
than
flogging one made you right?
what is it?
Was the flogging one made you right?
No, I mean, my folks had always. My mom is a sociologist. My dad is one of the chillest guys in the world. Like my dad teaches me about hard work and hope. My dad is the most hopeful person in this. Even if you want to die, even if your shirt is torn, it's like, don't worry, tomorrow will be better. And it's not all those false hope that you're just like, ha ha ha, tomorrow will be better. Like you're going through it, but it will be better. Then my mom just teaches me, about love and hospitality and like different things. But I think the reason that the reason why I turned out this way, and even my siblings are also like this.
Can imagine.
Yeah, they better pay me for this promotion I'm giving them on online. Um, but yeah, it's because we grew up in an environment where we're allowed to challenge things, to question things,
Mhm.
um, and to find meaning in whatever we're doing. So they'll tell you, "I okay, you want to do this. Why do you want to do this? Um, to what end is this going to help you? And to what end is this going to help in community?" And another reason why I'm this way, truly and really, is because of the schools I went to. There's some things I'd like to unearth, you know. Um,
Do you want to mention the names of your
yeah,
schools?
like I can. This is very weird, man. Like I've not said, I wanted to say I've not said this anywhere, but I've said it to my friends. And I speak about it very boldly because I
Mhm.
think like it's good to speak about these things boldly because they also help people that are in that period. So when I was in secondary school, um, I was one of those. I was one of those crafty young men. You know, my vice principal called me into the office one day. He was like, "Chris, if you use this your craftiness for good, you will change the world."
Wow.
This was my just one. Like this was like 1 week after. Like the guy just called me. He was like, "You change the world, but you're just too crafty. Use it for good." In so secondary school is interesting, because like I was in the school. You're just one to your SS3. There are people watching out for you, and in SS in SS2, that's when they hand over post. That they
Yeah,
make
yeah.
someone a prefect.
Yeah.
So I was being prepared to become a prefect. Not prepared, like I was one of those top people to become a prefect. And just a week before we became prefects, I stole. Say na ouch. I'm so sorry. So you can imagine, preparing all your life for something and then you messed it up. So
I'm even looking at it from the perspective of the people that were like,
that believe
you're
in me.
you're an ad manager now.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was one of your prospects that we were pushing to
Yeah.
be something, and please, how did it end?
But we'll come back to that. It's the same thing about discerning and seeing good in things,
Mm-hmm.
even if those things don't even see good in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's put a pause on that because I want to look into our soul. Still, man, quick mover hands. Maybe I will not get into the detail of what I stole.
So you want to see my soul? My soul is coming.
I should talk about the details. Okay. I mean, I can do it. Like it's something I've healed from, you know.
Okay. So you can
and
freely
I've
talk
and
about
I've
it.
grieved, but like I actually met the teacher recently. I stole from a teacher.
So bad.
I don't know, man. Like I was in secondary school. I was in year two, SS2.
Sorry, please hold
Yeah.
on. I think you're about to say something, then come back to this story.
No, so what I was trying to say is that it all boils down into why we see good things, even though those things don't see good in themselves.
Okay.
And this story is going to validate that,
Okay.
you know. So, it was exam period. The teacher dropped her cash. I dropped her bag beside me. I saw it. I was like, "See money, oh." Put my hand, took the money. I didn't know that that was the last money she had, and she was pregnant. Um, so we did the first paper.
Are you a boarding school?
Yes, it was boarding school.
Okay.
Hunger go slap you like this, so my provision's finished. um, so it was a boarding school, and yeah, we went for the first paper and coming back for the second paper, and she was like, "Who took my money?" Funny enough, like the talk shop was not open, so I couldn't even buy anything with the money.
Couldn't spend the money.
So God was good, Sha. I couldn't spend the money.
Oh, God was good because they caught you.
No, no, yes, like the most embarrassing
I'm
things that
saying that
yeah,
no
yeah.
one would think that way.
Yeah, like no, no. So God uses embarrassing things. Like when he uses it and does that to me, I'm like, thank you so much for that lesson.
Thank you for embarrassing
Yeah,
me.
thank you so much for that. There are a lot of stories, but I beg, let me not come and open my ears outside. But yeah. So I came back with the money, and she was like, "Who took my money from the bag?" And I squeezed the cash and threw it to another person's table.
Hey, baby captain.
So she went, caught the person, and was like, "Oh my God, you took my money! Like, what's this?" Was changing it, but I don't know, man. Like, I was a thief with a conscience. Like,
You could not watch
I
that
could
go
not allow
on.
another man take
The
my
burden for
my
yeah.
my burden. So I raised up my hand. I was like, I took the money, and she was like, you look so innocent. Like, is it by innocence? They're like, you look so innocent. So, but something miraculous happened. Normally, like when they catch you stealing, not even a teacher's money, when they catch you stealing, they'll ring the calling bell, they'll flog you first in front of everybody, then
What school is that?
they'll suspend or expel you. You know,
What school?
why asking me what school is that?
Just trying to comprehend. Like, is it
It's not a bad thing. Like,
No, 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 no. Now I'm thinking.
yeah.
Was it a Catholic school?
Yes, it was a Catholic school.
Yeah.
I'm Catholic. Yeah, so it was a Catholic school. So,
Like they're moral conscious.
sorry?
Like they're moral conscious and they have like rules
Yes, yes, yes,
guarding
yes,
all of
yes,
that.
yes, yes, yes. It's called St. Brian's Model College. Really beautiful school. Like, I loved it. Like, I think they shaped me into who I've become.
Thank you.
So normally they'll do that. But she
Mhm.
went downstairs to report me to the group of teachers. And guess who the group of teachers were? It was the vice principal that called me in my chest one like 5 years ago to say, Chris, if you ever use your craftiness for good, you would become great. Like you would do amazing things. So the extraordinary thing happened. They did not ring any calling bell and they did not flog me. All
What did
that
you do?
all that happened is that they called my father and told my father to come. My father came, of course, he was disappointed, and they told him to take me home. When I went home, they didn't flog me. Oh. Like I was like, I want you to flog me so that I can
Oh,
feel
the
the
one that
pain.
was beating
Yeah,
you,
I feel
like
the
that.
pain. Like flog me. My mom was like, "Is there anything that you've ever needed I've not provided?" Like all those emotional beatings. But this is why I'm telling the story. Um, when I got back to school, and they opened the gates 1 week after. I saw a group of young, by then they had handed over post to my set. So when I was absent, I saw a group of young students running towards me. They were running. I was like, what's going on? They were like, games prefects, games prefects. So they made me a prefect in that. One is, I think in my school, they don't make people prefect in absentia.
Yeah.
So they made me a prefect in absentia. But I was not only the games prefect, but I was also the games and social prefect. I broke down.
Does that mean you cried?
I did. Who am I? I I I broke down in tears. And I wasn't crying because I became prefect. I was crying because
You knew you were not worthy
it's
of
not even
this.
that, like, who am I? Second chance? You know, second chance. But I say this to say that, and this is why I'm always grateful to those group of teachers, because I go back to them and say, I don't know what you saw in me, because I was a crook, I was crafty, I was frustrating your life, but you still saw in me some things that I didn't see in myself. And even in moments where I was meant to be cast out, you brought me in and you clothed me with so much love and trust. And ever since then, my idea and my thoughts about second chances have changed. And I say this to say, because you were asking me how I got to be like this, it's because of experiences like that where it's like I've been shown so much mercy, and just because I was broken doesn't mean that I'm not useful. Um, and that even things that don't understand their value is the reason why they don't understand their value is because they have never experienced someone to bring out that value in them. Hence, my life's mission would be to give people second chances and to bring out value out of people. So, do you want to cry? You want to cry? You can cry. It's a safe space. So that is the true essence of my work. And when I went to university, Pan Atlantic University, such a brilliant school. Um, they formed me in terms of humanities. They taught me the values, the virtues rather, and how to live them. And all these pieces, from parenting to my secondary school to my friends to those teachers that saw a leader in me, regardless of how lowly I was, they've all formed who I've become. And I think all those negative things were needed. If I was to do this life again, I I don't want to be a good boy. I want to be a very bad boy. that
Where is this bad boy?
is going to be used to change bad spaces because I understand them more. Um, yeah, and I think a father that doesn't experience things cannot teach their kids properly. So I'm really grateful, man. That's it. That's the summary of the story, and this gives context to what I do with my friends, with people that have been put around me, um, with the places I work in, and the people I mentor, and the people that mentor me. Like that is why I do this thing. So that was a long rant. Sorry, that was a long rant.
Rant,
Yeah, but
rant.
no, it's not. A rant is a rest. What made you laugh? Guy. Games prefect. No, now because like I think it was the games day, like or it was the Labor Day. They're like, guy, they were so yeah, yeah, yeah. And
He
bring the
needs a
mic to
mic,
mic.
right? Exactly. Yes, 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 yes.
Let's not do it.
No, no, you can talk. Don't worry. My camera does that.
So, so that your story is very poignant. Um, I was laughing at first about the students around to you for being their games prefect and not the social prefect. So they were excited about what concerns them. But the other part is that after we have fallen as humans, as in we have made decisions that our judgment wasn't too okay, and you are very conscious of yourself right now. You are vulnerable. You are like, can I walk back into this space? I'll feel I'll feel so ashamed. That shame, that quality of shame is very very strong in us as human beings, and you don't want to go back to that space because man, I messed up in that place. And there are some people. Granted that they may not know what you did, but there are still some pockets of people that will embrace you, come and embrace you, and that will. I almost broke down. I almost broke down here that regardless of what happened, some people were willing to come and embrace you. Like our games prefer. They didn't address you as that thing. Is not your identity. Your identity is like our games prefer. I mean, I got teary eyed just now.
Like it feels like we're doing church service because, because of how I'm taking the mic. Let me put this back. Okay, we're going to invite you. You have to enter. This podcast is three people. Um, no, but the thing is, at the end of the day, we're all broken,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we're all still useful. And I didn't want to announce this because I told you about it personally.
Please announce it.
It says to please announce
To
it.
ground it. I would have done it for you. It has been in the back of my head.
So I'm doing a healing project,
Yeah.
a healing exhibition and experience next year, May 17th
Yep.
and 18th,
Yep.
2025. And this is because like I've noticed that like there's a lot of shame going around, and it's a shame of brokenness. Um, the shame of brokenness, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I also realize that I'm also broken and I still deal with shame. You know, I literally saw that teacher of the light so that my head can shine well. I literally saw that teacher who I stole her money this year. Yeah. I don't think she remembers me like it was.
As the child that stole my money.
Yeah, we're not close, so she probably didn't remember me, but I saw
Mm.
her and shame came back to me.
Mm.
Like I was like, I mean, I know she doesn't know me, but I just used another place to walk past. And maybe probably when I go back home and I see her again, I'll go to her because she's
Introduce
leaning into
yourself.
the
Yeah.
discomfort, yeah,
Yeah.
and introduce myself
Mm-hmm.
and tell her about how that experience
Changed your life.
has changed my life in different ways. But I think we live in a generation where a lot of people think they're broken. They know about their brokenness,
Mm-hmm.
but they think that in that brokenness they cannot be used.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do think that it is because you're broken that you're going to be used. You know, because if he doesn't use you, how would you know that broken things can advance the kingdom? And also, verse what breaks? What are the things that can break? A verse. What is a verse made of? It's made of clay. Yeah, it's made of clay. Broken verses are not really broken. They just need to be put back into water and repurposed. Like they need to be repurposed for something else. Like they need to be put back into water and repurposed. So, and the name of the project is this is why verses are made of clay because they can always be put back into the water. Did I tell you the name?
Yeah, I was asking for the concept, and you're
Uh,
like, you're still marinating on it, and I
I,
was
I
really
I
curious
was
about
done
what you could.
marinating on it, but I wanted to write something
Oh.
for you. But yeah, the
I am
concept
waiting
not.
for what you want to write.
So, but you put it into the water, it now becomes formless again, and then a new
It
verse can
never
be
comes
created.
back. Yeah.
And even if that is not doable, there's this Chinese
Art
method.
where they use gold.
Yeah, I've forgotten the name now. The name runs away from me. Where they use gold to mark broken things, and it looks more beautiful. And that is what we have been called to do. Because think
Mhm.
about it. Think about every single person in this life that is doing an amazing thing. Think about every single person in the Bible that did stuff. All of
Everyone
them
came from
broken
somewhere.
people. Um,
Yeah.
in this book that Jesus the Holy Fool is, Jesus was even foolish enough to pick people that are at the bottom of the barrel. Like he didn't go to pick
The disciples.
the high guys, the high priest, and all those people. He picked people that were regular, sinful, cast away people in society and in our lives, and in the shame that we carry, in the different things that we have done, and the different things that we will do because we are human. Um, we will be used to do good stuff in the world. I'm an example of it. I'll still fall. He'll still use bad my bad scenarios to teach me a lot of lessons
Mhm.
and to grow me into the person he is calling me to be. But broken things can be used to advance the kingdom. And he needs you. Just imagine, how can you change bad boys? You need a bad boy in between those bad boys to change bad boys.
The immediate rivalry of Trump.
Yeah.
Trump.
Okay.
President Trump.
Yeah. Tell me.
Like how people talk about how he's tough, he's harsh, he can
Yeah.
be funny, he can be by funny I mean like really rude and
Yeah.
all of that
Yeah.
sometimes. But then and very recently a pastor was sharing about how somebody called her and was like the person is depressed and sad and all because Trump is the president. That can you imagine what will he do and all? And then the person was like, oh, so the way the country has been, where all sorts of malices are going on freely,
Mm.
would you rather have that? That
Mm.
you are saying you don't want him, but it is somebody like him that can step into an economy like that
Mm-hmm.
and proudly and boldly say no.
Yeah.
This thing that is going on here, can you like? Do you listen to some of his speech? Like
Yeah.
he says some things that are like outrageous.
You know, he's an interesting fellow. He's a
Yeah,
very interesting
yeah.
fellow.
But someone without his capacity
Yeah.
and his intellect and his ability to view things the way he does
Mm-hmm.
cannot step into that kind of system and bring in order.
Yeah.
Just backing up what you said.
No, no, I definitely agree with you. Like if you're not if you first is we do not believe what is far away from us.
Mhm.
And what is far away from us cannot change us. So we need to be put into the context of which we know to be able to be changed. Do you get what I mean? Do you understand? So what I'm trying to
Yes.
say is like you cannot change what is far away. You need proximity to change things. And for that proximity to
Yeah, you have
happen,
to
like
have
you need
that.
to understand the language of the space you're trying to change. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah,
in the
yeah.
world,
Now I get you.
but not of the
Of the
world.
world, yeah.
So like you know the things that gangsters used to do, or you know the
Mhm.
things that
Mhm. You know
weedies,
their
you
language,
know how to
yeah.
catch people,
Yeah.
but you need to be there to be able to speak to them, and they need to be. It's a thing about safety. You
Mhm.
cancel people like
Mhm.
I can't be safe if you have
You
not
don't
created a
feel
safe
understood.
space if I don't feel understood. So we need that, and it's only through the broken people that that can change, and that's why my idea of unequally yoked is like that is
Mhm.
beyond the other meanings that Christians have to it. Is no, like the unequally yoked needs the people that are more experienced to be able to help them get to that point of being equally yoked. You know,
Mhm.
I know there are different contexts to approach that text from, but in this context of broken things would be useful. That's what I think. Um, one moment, like this has been lovely. This has been a
We've got
good
like it's so
conversation.
long.
No, no, it's good. Like
And so
I
good.
can still
Like
go.
as you, when you were
I
just
can
talking
still
about,
go
you can still
more.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you have. You gave me like
Then
an
what time is
extra
it?
30 minutes.
No, we can still do. We can still do. We
Okay,
can still
so
do
when he came,
sometime.
he asked me how long my pod is and said that he has listened to a 5 hour pod before.
Yeah, like I've listened to a 5 hour
So I
pod
don't know
before.
if that is what he's aiming for.
No, I do a lot of podcast. Like I love podcasts. I've listened to a 5 hour pod before, and I've listened to, and I know people are looking at me and like, what are you doing with your time? Like,
No, to be honest, I listen to
yeah,
audiobooks. I rather listen to the
okay,
book than read it, like
yeah.
hold a physical book. So
No,
I
I'm the
understand the
opposite.
idea. Oh,
Like I
yeah, I
love
know. Sorry,
tangible
sir,
things.
you're cultural.
I love holding things. I love hard. No, no,
Yeah,
no. Like yeah,
but when it comes to listening, yeah, I understand what it means to just have your ear assimilate things that, and I think where the pleasure comes in is in the quality of what is being listened to.
mm,
Like if the conversation is good,
mm,
and you know that what they're sharing, what is being discussed, is in alignment to who you are,
yeah,
then I don't think it would be a big deal to stay that long,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
like listening to some books. Some books can run for as long as 10 hours, but I wake up, I play with, I'm having my bath, I'm listening, I'm doing this, I'm listening,
yeah,
I'm doing this, I'm
yeah,
listening, and it's just running through.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I said that to say that I understand.
Okay.
I understand how you can sit and listen to 5 hours pod, but I don't know the kind of reaction that I would have
Yeah.
if I said there's a 5 hour pod out.
No,
Like,
but this is not 5 hours now. This is like 2 hours or 1 hour 30 minutes. It's not
okay,
been that long.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I
one
think
hour
we have
30 minutes
like
has not been that long.
I think we have 3 hours 30 minutes to go.
I
No, I'm just joking.
I know.
Is there any other thing you want to talk about?
Well, I wouldn't have even guessed that we would get this deep before
Yeah.
we even started, and I must say I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
But
Um, I think I think we just need to be more vulnerable, and with that vulnerability, we encourage other people to be vulnerable,
yeah,
especially in a world where it's telling you to keep things to your chest,
yeah.
because there's some things that you need to learn from people, and you don't need to experience them to
Mhm.
learn from them.
Mhm.
That experience is the best teacher. Is good because like actually makes you is like you're experiencing and learning in 3D, but you can also learn just from hearing other people's
Mhm.
story.
Mhm.
And the reason why I bore myself in this conversation was because I wanted the audience and you to understand the context of why I do what I do, and why I think every other person needs to approach life that way, especially in terms of calling out light from people. So if I wasn't in a space where someone called out light from me, even when I was most useless, quote unquote, um, I would not have that experiential knowledge or wisdom to be able to, one, know how to speak to other people that might be experiencing what I'm experiencing,
Mm-hmm.
or to basically find fruitfulness out of things that are hardened. And again, I hope and pray that all of us get to that point where I'm here and I see in you what God sees in
Sees in
you,
you.
and I call that out. I see in you what you can be, and I call that out. Because if you do that, if I do that for you, you do that for me,
Yeah.
you do that for Kay,
Yeah.
the world would move in a more aligned,
Man.
purposeful, and fruitful way. But if we do not do that, and if we do not share honestly some of our experiences that have brought us to where we are, it's the same thing. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, apply sharing of knowledge with wisdom, like, know who to share it with and where to share it. And I just think that everything I shared today needed to be shared here. Um, yeah, and if I couldn't share it, I'll just tell you, I beg, off the mic, off the mic, off the mic.
I mean, you literally reminded me of a conversation I had earlier today, and a conversation always it kind of chipped in the middle of a session, and it was just about how um, when it comes to sharing and opening, people get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to address the idea of hurt that comes from being vulnerable with maybe the wrong people.
Yeah.
There is the tendency to want to lock up,
Mm-hmm.
want to refrain from being open, want to refrain from um, doing that again because you've been burnt. But that's where the essence of healing comes in, like you said,
Yeah.
right? So imagine a situation where you've now been able to properly see things as they are.
Mm.
Because without knowledge in itself, we create restrictions,
Yeah.
like the proper knowledge, right? So I use the analogy of the scripture that talks about how we are one body.
Mm-hmm.
We are one.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that whatsoever it is that seems to be the 20 in me that I do not have,
Mm-hmm.
I might be great and all, but there might be something, there is, no matter how great every individual is, there's something that they do not have that would show itself in another person. That is how we are created to be.
Yeah.
There's no 100.
Yeah. We're
Right, and
created to
yeah,
be dependent.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's very intentional.
Yeah.
Not because you can, like, the idea is not to be perfect,
Yeah.
but to understand that in the value of your existence comes the value of another existence.
Yeah.
So someone else exists to feed to you that thing that makes you complete. Not
Yeah.
because they have to be your life partner, please, but yeah.
Very important.
But someone else exists to feed to you that thing that makes you complete, and you equally exist to give to others those things that make them complete.
Yeah.
We are like a jigsaw puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
We all come together to make one perfect picture. So if we say that because the someone mistook the piece that was supposed to be at the end of the puzzle as a piece that was supposed to be at the middle and tried forcing it and created some hurt and discomfort and all, then you will not decide that, okay, because of that I do not want to find myself in that mix anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Then you would be stealing from yourself the beauty of being in the place where you ought to be.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. Like, I think, man, God is just beautiful. Like, the way He creates things. Like, we live in a time where we're really chasing independence, and that is like a fool's errand because we cannot exist without the other person. It's always a thing about complementarity. Even with Adam and Eve, and like how they were created, like there's something that was missing from Adam that Eve was created from. So for him to be complete, that needs to be complete.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that I'm not so good at that you're good at, and
Mm-hmm.
for us to collectively move forward and to create the thing and the influence and the change we need in the world. We just need to be, we need to cleave to each other. But first, we need to understand
It is that
what
we
our
are.
own, yes, what our puzzle is.
Yeah.
And that only comes from interaction and relations. You can't understand yourself in
Mhm.
isolation.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because we've been created to like interact
Mhm.
and put that in. Just bringing back something we talked about in the
Mhm.
past, which just quite recently, which is sharing vulnerably.
Mhm.
I think the world, we have gotten to a space where we pedestalize people. And I think the more people that are in places of influence are honest about them being
journey.
just human beings too,
Mhm.
the better it is for the people that are looking up to them to the better it is for the people that are looking up to them to deal with their own shame. Because people feel shame because they're seeing someone that looks perfect, so they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh
Mhm.
my god, that person is
It's so
perfect." Like,
perfect. Like, who
I'm
am
so
I?
yeah, and I'm like, I'm just looking up to him, you know. But that also
It makes them
puts that
seem so
person
far
so
away.
above.
Yeah.
Also makes the person that is far above not able to learn, because at the end
Mhm.
of the
Mhm.
day, we have been placed in this world to learn,
Mhm.
you know, and we will learn till the very end. And that's why I speak so openly about my flaws too, because I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and I was telling her that I was anxious, and she was like, "Chris, you anxious? You can never be anxious." That I'm always advising people up and down. I told her, "No, dear, anxiety is finishing my life right now." And I had to be very honest with her so that that pedestal that she was building
Mhm.
me in would, one, free her to know
Yeah.
that, yeah, whatever shame she's going through, to free her to know that she's not alone in this journey of
Mhm.
being
Mhm.
human,
Mhm.
but also to free me from from not being confined in a box of perfection.
Yeah.
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 And this doesn't mean that I want to be stupid or do anything
Yeah.
stupid in
Why
this
you
world.
chase
Yeah,
perfection?
I'm
You still
chasing
come
perfection, but
real.
like I'm a human being. We're flawed by design. And I think I really love how that design was created, because it makes us cleave to the one that created us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Like
else we would have
how
been
would
like,
how would you put together a jigsaw if you are
yeah.
not able to at least understand what the
Or go
initial
back to the
picture
manual.
is
Yeah.
supposed to look like?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. No, you tied that back very well.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I think this is important work. I think vulnerability is a great thing. I also think that vulnerability also helps you know your tribe. So, yeah, like,
The tribe.
yeah, like
The
if I share
tribe.
something with you and
You're not able. Yeah. Then
you
just know that I
mishandle it,
nay, you're a
then,
stranger.
then I'm like, you're not even like a stranger. It's like, oh, okay, I know that I'm not called to you. Remember, we're different items called to different things,
Mhm.
and we need to
You
be,
fit into a
yeah,
different
we need to be
circle.
perfectly fit in different
Mhm. Mhm.
spaces to create the change that we need.
Okay.
So if I'm vulnerable to you and like
You don't
it's
take
not
it.
having that effect to you, or you're not taking it, or you're not
So the
creating
world is
space
not
for,
a stranger. The world is.
what's that? The word is not the
I'm asking. No, I used the wrong word,
okay.
right? We just clarified that I used the wrong word because the person is still of relevance. The person is just not supposed to be at your immediate circle.
Yeah, like
Like they don't fall into
something
the.
else would inspire them,
Mhm.
or something else would.
Yeah.
There will be other places where they're
Yeah.
useful,
Yeah.
and it might not just be there.
Mhm.
So if I share something with you and when you abuse it, or like you don't take it well, or it doesn't have the impact on you, then something else outside what I've shared will have impact on you. And it's still the same thing about capacity. So it's the thing of giving to the point that like everything is useful at the end of the day, even if it feels like it sucks from my end. Yeah.
This is so good. This conversation is so
I
good.
love it. I love it. I love it. I
Thank
love it.
you.
And I love the chaos of it all. Like,
Like I'm embracing the chaos. I'm putting it out like that, like
yeah.
all chaos and everything, even with the video.
Yeah, video with cake lying on the
On
floor.
the floor, and sitting on and everything. And even though I'm looking at the feed and I'm like, are you dark? But I'm like, I'm just gonna ignore you and tell the perfection in me to look away. Hmm? There's no work, oh. It's coming out just the way it is.
So
Right, but yeah.
I mean I think I'm smelling that we're getting to the end of this,
Yes, I think it would be wise to.
or else we'll just do like a 5 hour pod. But I just feel led
Okay,
to speak more into
please.
people that like feel broken,
Mhm.
and probably even pray. And my prayers are always very strange because it seems as if I'm praying to my guy. Where's my guy, my G?
Sorry, please go
Um.
ahead.
So yeah, let's pray. Father Lord, we give you thanks and glory for all the good things you have done. We thank you for the gift of life, for provision, for protection, for guidance. We thank you for the gift of this sport. That has been very chaotic, but has been really good and has been really honest.
Yeah.
We put the person, we put all of us who are broken
Mm.
into your mighty hand or who are feeling that they are useless. You make beautiful things and you give the best gifts.
Okay.
And for us to have life currently and for us to be in this earth in this particular time, this particular hour, which means that you have purpose for us. So we hand over all of us who feel broken,
Yeah.
who feel the shame that pride reminds us of, who feel that we are useless and worthless, and who are empty and are seeking to be filled. We put them into your mighty hand and we ask you, the one and only person that can heal, the one and only person that can feel, to come into our lives, to come into their lives and expand them. And through expanding them, giving them capacity to go into the world, to love themselves first, to love you more than anything in the world, but most especially to love those who are placed beside them.
Yeah.
Father Lord, all those who are talented and are dismayed and feel like, oh man, it's so hard to push this talent out. Father Lord, we ask you to call them
Yeah.
and to show them why you gave them these gifts.
Yeah.
And that these gifts were called to be invested, to be planted, to be watered, to be increased, to be multiplied, most especially that they are useful and that their gifts was created to change the world.
Yeah.
We need them
Yes.
as much as we need them. We need
Mhm.
them
Mhm.
and embolden them,
Mhm.
give them the resources that they need because some of it is really hard right now.
Seriously.
But you're the one who provides, you're the one who gives, you're the
Mhm.
one who protects, you're the one who heals.
Mhm.
Thank you because we know you have done what we have asked you to do. Thank you because we feel your revival around the world
Thank
currently.
you.
Everybody's at the edge, trying to find, everybody's at the precipice of finding you. We ask you to meet them where they are,
Mm.
in the holes, in the lights, in different spaces that they are hiding themselves. May they always remember that you are the lighthouse
Yeah.
and that they can always come home because you're
Yeah.
always leaving the light on. Thank you.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, G. Thank you, God.
Thank you.
And we pray that this podcast touches the people that it needs to touch,
Yeah.
that it is useful, and that it goes
Amen.
into the world and multiply.
Amen.
This we pray in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
God.
Yeah, I'm starting my church. You guys should bring collection. Joking.
100%. But yeah, you're not manager, and if you're out there and you need a manager, you need
um,
someone who.
so I'm trying to multiply myself. That's why I'm looking for new cultural and art leaders that we can train because I can't do this on my own. The
Mhm.
harvest is plenty and
Mhm.
the laborers are few. So if we
Mhm.
get more laborers, the harvests would be more. So, and the more we plant, the more we can harvest. So, if you're a young arts and cultural leader out there, um, I think we are called to different places. Mine is just art and culture. So if you're out there, please reach out to me or reach out to Wanda, and Wanda will reach out to me, and let's connect and let's change spaces. Fundamentally, I'm in the art and culture space, but in the broad sense of it, I'm just trying to do God's work, um, which is bringing people closer to their light and bringing people closer to Him, who is the light of all lights. So, yeah, thank you so much, Wanda. This has been really good. Like, that's why I told you we shouldn't have anything to talk about and let the spirit lead, because it's always
Okay.
active and aggressive. Yeah. Do you have a closing thing? Do we dance Alanta or something?
No, well, as the spirit, as the spirit leads. Bye.